my career start with for a younger generation affected by the civil war, and there is a kind of a claim for your identity and expression in terms of art. So we were in a kind of a dilemma how to get into this and how to take it very seriously, but you don't have any institutional support within the society. As from the family to the government, there is no support as such. So the only way of getting out of that point is like you have to go out and you have to study somewhere else. What we thought, okay, we are just asking these people, just give something which reminds you for the 25 years of existence in the war zone, because that Jaffna is an epicenter for all the crises, politically and in terms of military. So we thought we'll ask this question. So they gave different objects. So we evolved. Actually, we didn't know. I was not a kind of an installation artist, number one, and not a conceptual artist as in the terms of the 70s. Still, I was conventionally doing painting and all these things. So we were just trying out, and we didn't know what sort of a problem we are facing with, and what sort of a business we are getting into. And later on we found it's like we are meddling with a very fragile memories and emotions of the people, because there is no counseling in that society. There is no government support hospital doing counseling, and a lot of people migrated. A lot of people were in camps set up within Sri Lanka, and a lot of things are lost. There is no family without lost. Either they have lost one member or two members from the family, or there's a property lost, or something or the other. So there is no family or a house without the trace of war. That's what we found. So, but for reconciliation, there is no setup, and they all have a kind of a traumatic situation. And the whole notion of diaspora is become very questionable, because if you take the word diaspora, it's just you are dispersed from the center. But in our case, there's no center as such now. So because the periphery started influencing the center, because so you are nowhere actually. You don't have anything to hold in the end. So here, when I got a kind of invitation I grabbed it, because this is a kind of a thing I also wanted to do and see how these people are reacting. So if you just do the similar activity here, you can just compare how these two different societies, whether there is a two different society operating at all. My basic argument is people always confuse home with house. So home and house is different. It's not a kind of physical entity. It's about relationship. It's about human beings. It's about your culture. It's about your tradition, history, memory, and all these things. So my argument is like what I ask them is like, you give any object which is which has some sort of a meaning to other people, in the sense which reminds you of friendship or a kind of a relationship or a people or a person or a place or a building or an incident, whatever it is. So give any object which has some sort of a connectivity, and that object could be from this place or from your home, from Sri Lanka, whatever it is. Up to this point, what I found is, even though I am just giving a kind of an open entry, the people who are carrying these words, they have their own interpretations. It's very interesting how it's taking its own form. So some people just give it as a kind of a object from home. Some people said we have to exhibit our culture. Some people said we have to exhibit our crisis. So different people are interpreting the whole project in different terms. That's what it's spreading. So you have all the material. Everything is represented. I wanted to be this to be look like a museum or a kind of laboratory space, because when these people come, like when the owners of these objects come, they should feel a kind of a distance all of a sudden. Then only you can see it objectively. Otherwise, it's become totally a subjective position, and there is no difference between an object at your home and the museum. So there is a kind of a transformation in terms of sight. So sight play a very important role. And where is your artistic art? Where is the artist's role in it? My role is actually operating in that. Up to that point, anyone can do it. Only that break between the normal mandate and how that normal and mandate object become a kind of abnormal, something very special object in the end. For that, I need a kind of a display. That display play a part in this because of that. Where here in this point only there is a possibility of artist skill operating or imagination operating like that. So in that case, an anthropologist can't do that kind of work. A community person who is working with a community cannot work in that place, because I have a special reason for that to draw a line between that and this. So it's totally, for me, it's not, for me, I conceive this as a kind of an artist project, as you asked. Artist project. As you asked, and I have a kind of questions about what sort of to what extent we can use this kind of other tools, and how far we can get into a kind of a community project, and in the end the other projects like social development and that and this, what is my stand about those things. I am not looking into that kind of thing. Yeah. It's still a kind of an, even though I'm a facilitator, I remain as a kind of an artist in this whole project. There is no public memorials. There is no one talking about the little histories of the people who suffered, who carried all the burden of the war. So this project is entering into that zone. Actually, it's talking about people, and it's not an elite history we are talking about. We are talking about the normal mandate public history. So I thought, okay, just taking personal histories and just a kind of an ordinary histories, we can just find out a different kind of history making process in the whole thing. But then, in the end of the project, I realized, no, it is not fully happening also, because they are not ready to represent that history as well. The whole network we are creating through man-to-man connection, just passing a word verbally, and bringing a kind of obligation, sharing, that's become more important. Because rather than just representing something, the whole process is very important, and particularly to this society in this time. Because they told me after this project they come to know about a lot of people. That's what they told me. And yesterday night someone told me that you were very lucky that you found this much of thing, and I have been living there for 20 years and I only know 10 people, and you at least know 210 people.